talked so much Supersonic, and we will over the next couple of weeks here as we round out the season. The playoff picture and the sense of urgency that these teams are going to have. We haven't talked nearly as much about it as maybe we should with these teams that are right in the middle of the pack, but every mistake once you reach this point of the season is just amplified a little bit more as everybody's under the microscope.
Yeah, this is where it's do or die time. You got to show up. This is the moment where you decide if you're the team that gets to stay in or if you're sitting on the bottom half of that midfield. These are the matches that decide whether you're going back to go through play-ins again. And nobody wants to go back there. I'm sure you'd much rather just stay and ride it out. And we're going to find out how these teams square up here in just a moment.
Remember, the top 6 teams will, at the very least, keep their spot in the rival series for next season. 3rd and 2nd will go into the promotion tournament. The top team, which both these teams are still in the hunt for as well, that number 1 spot goes automatically to the RLCS next season. There is a lot to play for here, getting a little bit of distance between you and everybody else below you, like Warriors International, like Monkey Business, who just won earlier tonight, and also just get a little bit closer to those teams up there, like Chaos, like Omni Nation, who has now dropped 2 in a row. They're going to start feeling the heat no matter who wins this match, and it's about to get underway. Absolute Leverage and Mirage, 5 games at most for a huge matchup and bragging rights and all sorts of tiebreaker implications in the standings. We are underway with game number 1. It is Freshness giving it away to Wonder Mike. He has been hot and cold at various points of the season, Wonder Mike, but it was Luke who had been cold for much of this season until last week when he came alive against Stromboli, led them to a huge win that gave them a lot of life in the standings. Intercepted here by Rodoko. Wonder Mike waiting. He's not needed because Rodoko does it all himself. It takes 40 seconds, and Rodoko blazes the trail for Absolute Leverage.
I looked at the second monitor to pull up my stat sheet for one moment, and Rodoko throws in just lobs one into the net to open this one up. Alev off to a good start, and that makes me feel good because my man F-Dot came through and went Alev with me, which that man's been on fire today with his picks.
And normally the blind leading the blind, but he has been on point, and so far Rodoko on point. He is waiting at the back here, and he will now come up to challenge Luke. Freshness is there as well, and Rodoko got a piece of that ball as well. Kinsei throws one all the way over. Luke is there, and Rodoko does get back in time to at least fend off one attack, and everybody from Mirage will back off. Kinsei blown up by Freshness. Rodoko takes out J-Russ 2-on-2 for a brief second before Kinsei will find Wonder Mike, and he'll take the shot instead of passing to Rodoko, and J-Russ makes the save.
Bit of a solo play there. I would have liked to see that pass down to Rodoko. You're ways off. There's a defender there. Mike trying to force one in there. Want to see him get more involved. I like when he does the solo plays when he's close to the net, when he gets up and does some of the flashy plays, gets the ball around people. But I want to see him make use of those teammates.
J-Russ against Kinsei. Good challenge by J-Russ, better challenge by Wonder Mike. But there's Luke to back up the play, so Rodoko has to take over. Probably could have just collected that ball, instead opted to pop it away. So now Luke will bring one back in. I think the first team that starts to play a more controlled style, Supersonic, is going to have a huge advantage, is right now both teams are just throwing the ball across the center line, dump and chase, kind of like a hockey strategy. That works for some teams, but certainly not all. I don't think it'll work for either of these two.
Yeah, it's something that we've seen time and time again throughout today and the season. The team that can start getting control over the ball, especially when they're in the situation where they're up. I'd like to see less clears out of A-Lev while they're up and more controls. Nice pass into the mid lane. One to Mike coming up, and he's going to pound that one home.
Yeah, this is just not a good ball from Freshness. He virtually gave it away. And there's one to Mike waiting at midfield, a lot like Nagflow was for Vertex earlier today on the European side. It works out just as well for Absolute Leverage as it did for Vertex earlier today. Here's J-Russ over Kinsey. So now Luke and J-Russ. Pass out to Luke. No, rebound taken by Freshness though. And that will be cleared away. Luke is not going to get back in time, battling with one to Mike, and he does get to this ball.
I thought we were about to see goal number 3 there. Luke able to get out just ahead and recover and get a touch on that ball. Rodoko looking for that flip reset. I thought he was going to go for the pass, but Kinsey gonna get demoed there. Rodoko tries to make a solo effort. Nothing to come of it.
J. Russ. Oh, a defender caught this, and it still almost went in. Now J. Russ down to Luke. He's got Freshness coming on, and Luke could neither get a pass nor shot because he missed one important factor, the ball. Now one to Mike. 2-on-1 with Kinsey against Luke, and Luke makes the stop. So Rodoko will have to send this one back in. One to Mike very quickly coming downfield. This will go out of the corner. Rodoko is there. His shot. Oh, one to Mike might have been trying to redirect or run interference. Got neither. And it still remains 2-0. Only 2-0 with a minute left.
Midfield's been really interesting to me so far. So last week we talked about it over and over again in that matchup against Stromboli. Mirage has been that team that came in with the plan, and they were getting up, they were controlling the midfield, they were first to the ball, they were there to greet them and challenge every touch. That doesn't seem to be the case here, and I wonder if it's because of the number of awkward double touches that one to Mike does. He does a lot of clears off the backboard to the sidewall where he chases that ball down and then pops it out to mid or shoots it down the sidewall with a pinch, and that's not really something we were seeing Stromboli throw at them, and it seems to be breaking up that momentum and rhythm of Mirage.
J. Russ will try to bring this to the side. They got to score right now to have a chance at a kickoff goal, and they will not. And that will just about do it, as Rodoko, the only thing that matters now is stats, and that will do it. This ball will touch down sooner or later. Luke might add one. He does, but it means nothing other than it breaks up the shutout, and it will be Absolute Leverage taking game number 1 as they did control most of the second half of this opener.
Yeah, we talked about wanting to see somebody take control of the ball and get the possessions under control. I don't think it was to the extent of what we were probably referring to, but A-Lev did take control over that ball for the most part, and it really did come from those kind of odd second touches that one to Mike does. And I don't want to say it's necessarily Justin-esque to that extent, but it does give me a little bit of that feel where he's just always in pursuit of that ball. He's always on the back of it. Once he touches it, he has decided at that point that that ball is his, and he's going to continue to chase it down until they get to his point where he's out of boost or he doesn't feel comfortable taking a shot. So he gets these weird touches where most people aren't chasing the ball down in the same manner, and it seems to be working to get that ball around that midfield Mirage play that they had last week, where it was just meet you in the air, get there first, and win those 50s. They're not getting those opportunities this week.
For Absolute Leverage, it is effectively a shutout. You could call it a gentleman's shutout, as Mirage does get on the board. But I think more importantly, one to Mike was so much more involved than anybody else on the field, regardless of what side you're on. And that is something that Mirage is not going to be able to contend with. They need to make somebody else get involved. Make Rodoko do more. Yes, he scored the opener 40 seconds in. Make him do more. Make it more of a team effort for Absolute Leverage. Because if they've got to rely on all 3 members, then they're actually, oddly enough, easier to deal with. But if you let one to Mike do whatever he wants, ask the Charlotte Phoenix how that goes.
It feels like you might want to just try and boost our Wonder Mike. When he's able to just kind of freely run up and down the field and do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, and he just kind of almost just ball chasing to an extent, it's when he seems to shine. When it feels like he's almost just in free play. J. Russ with a quick shot. Defender number 5, the crossbar, going to be there to block that one out. But Luke with the follow-up.
All these shots that would have been highlight reel goals had any of them found the net. And then Luke just rolls one home, 30 seconds in, and Mirage have their first lead of the series. They'll take it as it's 30 seconds into game 2. This is the kind of start that Mirage needs. Let's see if they can build on it. It will be Rodoko trying to score early yet again, as he did in the first game, but he stopped here. And Freshness will throw one all the way downfield towards Wonder Mike. Boy, he is so quick and decisive, too. When Wonder Mike commits to a play, there is no deterring him whatsoever. You see a lot of players, they might turn off of a play, they might get cold feet. Wonder Mike is all in, but he misses this ball, so Rodoko's going to have to take over behind him.
It's dangerous to let a player do that, too. Again, we're talking a lot about Wonder Mike here, but if you let a player sit there and feel like they're in free play and that every ball is their ball, eventually they find that weird rhythm where everything just kind of fades away and the game just opens up and you kind of hit the zone. And Wonder Mike in the zone is a scary player. We've seen it happen a couple times when he really gets that rhythm going. They need to get possession. Mirage needs to slow him down if they want to keep this from becoming a disaster. They're up now, but if Wonder Mike starts getting it going, it's going to be a problem.
Wonder Mike strikes me very much as a player like Arsenal, formerly of the Peeps and now with Space Station, a player that just, on average, you don't think that this is the guy that's going to beat you, but once he starts going, he is impossible to stop. It's almost like you're playing 4-on-3 at that point. Kinsey trying to carry that underneath Luke. Maybe even drop it back to a teammate. Neither happened. So now J. Russ, just a little token pressure, forcing Wonder Mike to play another one downfield. He'll at least take the boost. But downfield comes Mirage looking for more. J. Russ, oh, great pass out to Freshness. Rodoko didn't have a clue what to do with it, and Freshness gets his first goal.
So Mirage is starting to get a bit aggressive, doing some of the similar things that I was talking about Wonder Mike doing. So they're coming in, they're doing those quick chases from one corner to the other, kind of jumping from the side wall to the back wall, skipping the corner, getting these quick touches, and it's opening up opportunities for them. Rodoko going to get a little bit of a solo opportunity there against J. Russ. Nothing going to come of it.
J. Russ downfield, and Kinsey will intercept, but Luke. It would have been a good ball had somebody been coming forward, but that's where communication becomes a huge factor. You gotta let somebody know that ball's gonna be there. How about Luke, though? Still making something out of nothing as he drops this one on target.
J. Russ getting involved in all of this, too, being the man to kind of have that touch before that shooter gets it. Again, Luke kind of a little bit of a solo there, but J. Russ setting up that opportunity to begin with. We're seeing them get that rhythm going that we saw last week against Stromboli. Luke having a good day. That's what we asked for when they took down Stromboli. We said Luke needed to show up. Luke is showing up here once again.
3 goals in the series for Luke. That leads everybody. And he'll make a stop there, well out in front. Freshness challenged by Wonder Mike. Kinsey's there. Rodoko waiting as well. Kinsey could not drop one on target. So it will be J. Russ. Indirect to himself from the ceiling. Wonder Mike at the back this time. And now he'll try to cheat forward a little bit as much as he can. Because this absolute leverage team, they are much better when Wonder Mike is in front of the opposite net rather than sitting in his own. Rodoko gonna take it himself. Wonder Mike jumped as well, so the play doesn't work out. Wonder Mike was able to steal some boost, so he was able to stay in the play, but J. Russ makes a great challenge, and it forces Rodoko to throw another downfield. Wonder Mike still all the way down on the opposite end. Now Rodoko with a redirect, and he finds the angle, thread the needle.
Beautiful shot from Rodoko, and hopefully that calms Wonder Mike down. He was hitting that point where we've seen him do this before. He starts getting that rhythm, and he's not necessarily in the zone, but he's in a mode where he feels he has to touch every ball, and he gets into a ball chase mentality to the point that it's a detriment. And he was really double committing hard there multiple times. And eventually you're going to throw your team out of rhythm, and there's not going to be a man in net, and that's going to give up free goals.
Another pass down towards Rodoko, but this time they don't connect. And it will be J-Rush just throwing one downfield. Not much control there, but he does get in on a challenge off Rodoko. There is still 33 seconds left. There is still time. They've got to score very, very soon, and that one saved by Luke. That may spell the end here. Still 25 seconds. Kinsey thought about it. Now he will challenge, as he thought he had Luke making a mistake, but Luke holds his ground. Freshness plays that by Wonder Mike. Down to 12 seconds left. Boy, they're playing very intelligently with a deficit, and Kinsey will score.
Getting aggressive here at the end when you're in those final moments and you have no choice but to do so. They're at least maintaining some semblance of a rotation there. I expected Alev to kind of break down, but they just had a really tight-knit kind of 1, 2, 3 coming left, coming right. Works out. Couple seconds on the clock here. Rodoko going to put one off the backboard for Kinsey, but it's going to get knocked away.
Oh, and the ball touches down literally right at 0. Maybe one more bounce, but no. And that will do it as Mirage ties the series. But you gotta like what Absolute Leverage did there, because in the final minute or so, they just threw caution to the wind, and so many times you'll see teams struggle deciding when to pull the trigger there, when to just throw everybody forward and decide, hey, look, if they get the ball by us, we're not gonna score anyway, so just go at them. That's what Alev did, and it almost tied up the game.
It's almost like Wonder Mike is in that mode always, all the time. It's just when the other two are willing to pull that trigger. And when they do, if they can do it intelligently, it tends to work out for them. Really, they score those goals with either comes one of two ways. Either Wonder Mike makes some sort of stellar solo play, or they are just super aggressive and they just storm the gates to try and force that ball in. And those two strategies tend to work for them. And then we're talking about how well they did, but really, this went the way of Mirage, and Luke had a stellar game. 2 goals, 5 saves. Luke asked for us to root against him. I went against him, and apparently that Mamba mentality is coming through. He's having a big day.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to the last 2 times we've seen Luke here on Fridays. 5 goals last week, 3 goals tonight, and still plenty more to go as he scores plenty over the past couple of weeks. He will try to fill up the net even more. He is waiting downfield right now, trying to wreak a little havoc with Kinsey. So Wonder Mike back the other way. Tough angle, drop down. Oh, and it's off the mark. Absolute Leverage. They have shown they can score from any angle. They almost did there. Ooh, Freshness.
Dangerous.
That's going to be challenged by Wonder Mike, as Kinsey now will throw one downfield. Wanda is there, but Rodoko is going to have to stay at the back. Kinsey is still all the way downfield. That cherry picker strategy does not work out this time, though, because there's nobody at the back, and the man of the hour strikes again.
And this kind of comes at the hands of Wonder Mike, just trying to back and forth himself across that midfield. Love the guy to death, but he's double committing pretty hard here, and that's throwing off that rotation. When that third man gets into a situation where he has to go for the ball, and Wonder Mike's out there kind of doing Wonder Mike things in the mid, and there's no one in net, you're giving easy opportunities to the opposition.
J. Russ, that's going to be just high. Now here goes Kinsey on an open net. Oh, they almost got there, but Kinsey forces it through.
Yeah, Kinsey going to pick this one up. You got the teammate Wonder Mike coming through just enough to kind of make J. Russ think about it. that sometimes is just enough to make J-Russ shift a little more to his left to try and get that distance to not get bumped or demoed, to allow that opportunity to kind of force it in over and from Kinsey.
Well, Rodoko makes one save there and then back the other way. Oh, he tried to slow play, but the defense of J-Russ is good enough. Luke was waiting for a ball to reach him. It did not, so Freshness will be challenged. And now Luke throws one downfield. Plenty of boost available if Mirage wants to pick some up, and they do. But that means Alev can take possession. Freshness down to Luke. No, it's intercepted by Rodoko as Luke gets knocked around in the offensive third. He can't get back. That means Rodoko can put one right through the net.
Yeah, one to Mike on that rotation back, cuts mid. This time it's gonna be helpful to the team. Comes in, picks it up, puts one down to Rodoko. Nice little redirect into the net.
So now with just over 3 minutes left, plenty of offense to go around here in game 3. Both these teams locked at a game apiece in a battle with significant ramifications, and what a stop defensively, short-handed as everybody scrambled back for Ablev. Another stop made, and now Rodoko will challenge Luke. That's a good first touch, but one to Mike is there. J-Russ will guide this off to the corner.
Yeah, as you say, Mirage wants a mulligan. They want another look at that ball. Open net, unfortunately landed in the wrong position and put it out wide off that backboard, giving enough time for Alev to get back and break up the play.
J-Russ hasn't done a lot of scoring, actually hasn't done any scoring in this series, but he does have 4 assists. He's trying to create a rebound opportunity there. He gets knocked out of the play as he tried to turn. So it'll be Freshness who takes over. That's going to be high. Follow-up is non-existent, so Luke will take over from his back wall. Now it's Freshness down to Luke, and he almost rolled one through. Rodoko jumps in the way. Now J-Russ stopped by one to Mike. Both teams have had a lot of great opportunities, but the defense has been standing tall on both ends of the pitch.
That defensive read was just on point. That 1-2-3 play, Alev able to read it and stop it. I thought for sure that one was going in.
Loose in the corner, it will be Rodoko flying in as he had to with Luke chasing that ball down. He had to burn a lot of boost to do that, though. He will pick some up out of the... No, he will not. Nobody takes that corner boost. It is Kinsey that does get there, and now Luke with a full tank of his own. Maybe a pitchel on the ceiling. No, you get up there, but it'll be J-Russ who takes the shot, and Kinsey with a rather easy save. They didn't get nearly the power they were looking for on that shot. J-Russ indirect to himself. One to Mike all over the play. Freshness taken out, but there is Luke. And it almost worked out to perfection for Mirage, if not for the defense of Alev holding on to a 1-goal lead. Down to the final minute, one to Mike. Nobody's home. Is it on? It sure is. And the lead is up to 2.
53 seconds left on the clock. That is not what you want to see from or on the side of Mirage. An open net. One to Mike. Gonna hit those all day.
Well, it is one to Mike. Again, now it's Kinsey. His shot is going to be wide. A lot of confusion there, and more importantly, it works out in Alev's favor because not only do they get a shot on, but also that confusion slows down Mirage. It almost froze them. 30 seconds left as Freshness bombs one away. Not a whole lot of teamwork now in the closing seconds. A lot of hero ball coming out for Mirage as they try to get back into this game. Not quite with the same cohesiveness that we saw out of Alev last game, but Freshness is going to rip one right down the middle, and the defender could not catch up.
Great pass from Luke. Freshness hits it right on the money and just sends a fastball right down the middle of the net.
14 seconds and now counting. Rodoko, that's not a good ball, but it does get to Kinsey. Kinsey, this is going to drop down at an awkward angle. One to Mike, take it out of the play. That would have been ball game if Wonder Mike got onto this. Instead, there's still life for Mirage, but they cannot rely on Wonder Mike or anybody from A-Lev to keep this alive for them, and they can't keep it up themselves. So Absolute Leverage will take game 3. It was a bizarre third game. It threatened to be more of an offensive showcase, and then it kind of died down at the end.
I just want to go back to that last defensive stop there from Mirage, though. Those are so scary to go for when you go for those demos. My experience is if I go for the demo, I'm probably knocking the ball into the net myself anyways. Really thought that one was going to go a different direction, but I agree with you. The offensive side started off really strong. We saw a lot of attacks early in the game, and eventually the game came back down a bit. The pacing slowed back down and got to a manageable level, and then teams started capitalizing on mistakes. A-Lev finding a couple more mistakes than Mirage was able to.
And so because they were able to find some of those mistakes, they are one win away from a very important win, and good news for the likes of Stromboli and Chaos, who are up above all of this madness. They, if Absolute Leverage do take this particular game, they would knock Mirage down just a few pegs and give those teams up above one less team to worry about in their immediate rear view.
Yeah, right in the rear view is at least where you want them to be, though. You have them in the rear view. Yeah. They're not ahead of you. You just got to maintain and get something else going. I don't think Mirage is out of this at all. They're a team that's going to try and get something figured out. If they can come up with a game plan here in between matches, we've seen them execute game plans when they come in with it. So they just need to piece this together here in between matches. Should be good to go into this third match. Luke showing up here still, but he's going to need to put out a little more to try and take this one home, as they are behind one game in the series.
Yeah, 2-1 the series lead for Absolute Leverage. We will get game 4 to you in just a moment. I want to make sure we get all the players in here and ready to go, get them all on a level playing field. It's a big one, as we keep mentioning in the standings, and game differential becoming so important. Mirage coming in at a -4 differential because they took some lumps early on, and their wins haven't really been blowouts. Meanwhile, on the other side, Absolute Leverage, they're up above 500 in their overall games record. So yeah, they got to be feeling really good at this point, no matter what, because, okay, even if they drop this series, they still have a decent overall games record, but if they can take this game here, it gets even better, whereas you've got a lot of teams that are much closer to 50-50.
Yeah, one of the things I like on the A-Lev side in that last match is that they did show up for their team, where Wonder Mike was the bottom player on the team that time. And typically when these wins are occurring, we're seeing Wonder Mike have these stellar performances, these over-the-top shots, these kind of blowout matches, and he was a bit understated in that last match. Couple double commit issues where he's still kind of all over the place. But as soon as he slowed down, it allowed those other two players to shine and start getting involved in the play. And we said that it sometimes is better when they're playing as a team. Unfortunately, in this situation, it did not work that way. Them playing as a team ended up being exactly what they needed to kind of get Wonder Mike back under control and get that game plan going.
Misspoke earlier, by the way. Absolute Leverage 9-12. I was looking at somebody else's record because, again, when it comes to numbers, you would think the guy that's a self-professed numbers nerd would just be all over them. No, I make mistakes too. I am human. We don't talk too much about those, so we'll just move on.
That's a reading error. That's a reading error, though. That wasn't a math problem. That was you just read the wrong line on the stat sheet. Your math's fine. Your math's fine.
Oh, yeah, no. My math is definitely not fine. We established that earlier today with Europe. So, with that in the rearview mirror, we look ahead now to game number 4. The players are ready to go. Everybody is set. And now, to just recap where we're at here. Absolute Leverage up 2-1 in the series. A pair of 1-goal victories for them. A 1-goal victory in game 2 for Mirage. They have been trading wins back and forth. They've been trading goals back and forth throughout this series. Now we go to game 4, where Mirage must win. As good as they looked last week, they then came back and laid an egg, albeit with a sub against Chaos on the B stream. But it was a costly loss nonetheless.
Oof.
So this one takes on a whole new significance, and J-Russ gets his first goal of the series. Again, better late than never.
Beautiful shot. Got up there, got right on the ball, ton of power, ends up getting the bouncer to that top corner. If you're going to have a first goal, sometimes you want it to just be that nice, clean shot. Nothing crazy, nothing over the top, just a nice, clean, good look at the net. Sometimes that's enough to get you going.
It will be Kinsey. 1 to Mike. Nothing there from Kinsey. So now Luke, challenged by Rodoko. Possession remains for Mirage. And a good setup there will lead to Freshness getting his third.
J-Russ with that nice second touch to just quickly bank one off the wall out into the open. Puts it just, I believe it was just behind 1 to Mike, and opens that net right up.
This will bank out for Kinsey because he has to make sure Luke doesn't get a piece of it. And it will be 1 to Mike with Kinsey in the middle, trying to flick one on, and Freshness is all over it. 2-0 the lead for Mirage in a game they must win. J-Russ got, well, one more touch than he would have wanted. Rodoko playing lead blocker. 1 to Mike will score, and here we go. Buckle up.
That's a common theme from these guys. We see this happen a few times so far in this series. I believe that's possibly the 3rd time we've seen it, at least the 2nd, where they run that guy down, and then as soon as they get an isolated one-on-one, the 2nd or 3rd player from Alev is immediately downfield. They slow the ball down just enough to make sure they can get a 2nd player involved in messing with that defender's head.
Bumps and demos are one of the big reasons teams have had to put a major focus on defense and maybe playing just a little more conservatively, because all of a sudden you can't get away with keeping one man back and throwing caution into the wind as often as you used to. That guy gets taken out. It's an open net. J-Russ going to try to drop one down to Luke. Kinsey got a piece. Luke is still there. He'll try to keep the play alive, but he has no boost. So he's going to have to eventually scramble back. He's just working off pennies right now, and he's going to need to float up. He barely does get a piece of that from 1 to Mike. And now Rodoko challenged by Freshness as Mirage tries to stop the bleeding here. Don't let Alev get any closer and tie up this game. 1 to Mike's got other plans, and he almost got the double.
Defender 5 coming through again, able to block that one away and strip it from 1 to Mike.
And now Kinsey and J-Russ. Luke is on his way out. Freshness in an awkward spot. This could be trouble. This is the opening absolute leverage needs. But Luke, sure-handed there, and he comes to the rescue. That is a huge defensive play for the orange side, and it leads to an opportunity as well. It's not a very good one, but they'll take anything they can get at this point. J-Russ got the dunk, but that's going to go wide. And Kinsey just looking towards 1 to Mike, but Mike couldn't go. He didn't have any boost.
I'm loving the speed from J-Russ right now and the number of touches that he's getting. He's almost like a more controlled 1 to Mike in the sense he's kind of ball chasing, but he's there. He's getting these 50s. He's there to greet the defender every single time and just try and keep the ball stuck in that end of the court, which is one of those things you want to do. Just eat clock. You're up 1 goal. There's no need to get insane with it. While you have people in the backfield, though, if you're able to sit there and get the boost and continue to steal those corners and cut rotations, just jam the ball up, gunk it up in their end.
Luke and Freshness both up for that ball, so it's on J-Russ, but he missed. Ooh. And Freshness barely kept it alive, but Kinsey there because nobody else got back. It was a double commit about 10 seconds ago that caused it.
That effort from Freshness, though, to try and keep it alive. Great attempt. And unfortunately, as the last man back with the double commit up the field, it's just going to leave you open when you get stuck against the side wall of your net like that.
Thrown across, it will be Rodoko, as all of a sudden, absolute leverage. They are rolling. They have brought it back with 2 unanswered. One to Mike from the ceiling. This is going to go all the way across for Kinsey. Back out, and I don't think he wanted that second touch, but he was out of his control. One to Mike coming on with 50 seconds left. Ooh. He'll score on the near side. Another defensive breakdown.
Rodoko gonna get gifted an assist there as One to Mike comes through and says, I'll do it myself. Give me the ball. Off the back wall, puts it in.
When it looked like Mirage had it all figured out, game 4 rather, was going to be just like game 2. Instead, it is absolute leverage. They have come roaring back. Now they're threatening to close out the series. One to Mike, looking for more, and he does.
One to Mike coming alive. Just talked about them getting one done where it was kind of the team effort and the team play there. Passing plays between Rodoko and Kinsey. One to Mike, though, must have heard something, decided he needed to get back involved, and he is having an all-star performance. 3 goals, 1 assist, 3 saves, and 8 shots on net so far here in game number 4.
Rodoko, second touch, will throw this deep into the corner. That may spell the end for Mirage in this series. When it looked like they were going to bring it back and force game 5, absolute leverage, said absolutely not. One to Mike and Kinsey. What a series they had. Rodoko had his handprints all over this series as well. And it did, in fact, Supersonic, turn into a well-rounded team effort